Good evening, ma'am, sir. My name is Denver V. Crisostomo and I'm the first reporter. So, our topic is varieties and registers of spoken and written language. Guide question. Number one is why is it essential to use sustainable varieties and registers of language in a specific communication context? Number two, what are the distinctions between the variety of registers of oral and written language? Number three is what are the variations between spoken and written language? According to an article written by Glenier, we have six language registers, which is the formal, casual, intimate, private, frozen, and consultative. These registers can be used depending on the situation and people we encounter. So the formal register language is, for example, is AC. AC is formal because it includes polished speech, complex sentences, and precise vocabulary. And casual register refers to a relaxed and informal style of language that is typically used in everyday conversations among friends, family, or in informal settings. It often involves colloquial expression, slang, construction, and more or laid-back tone compared to formal or academic language. So, intimate register language refers to a highly personal and family style of language used in close relationships such as between romantic partners, close friends, or family members. For example, ani is by saying I love you to your partners and etc. Private register refers to a style of language used in intimate or personal settings such as between close friends, family members, or romantic partners. For example of private register is might be the way we siblings speak to each other and using childhood nicknames. Frozen register refers to a style of language that remain fixed and unchanging over time. For example, it includes religious texts, legal documents, and national anthems. And consultative register refers to a level of language used in professional or formal contexts. For example, greetings like good morning, ma'am, sir, good afternoon. It is essential to use appropriate varieties of register of language in certain communication contexts because in different situations and people call for different registers. When we use appropriate varieties and register of language, we're showing respect, interest, comfortableness, and professionalism. However, we have different approach in language register when it comes to face-to-face conversation and in written mode. So there are six characteristics of written language. So the first is permanence, means when students write something, they already set in their mind to be done in one session. So permanence refers to the quality of or state of being permanent, lasting or unchanging. It is characterized by enduring existence, continuity, and property. In other words, permanence is the opposite of impermanence or transience. For example, is the student writes something they already set in their mind to be done in one session. They don't think that they can edit or revise their written to be better because students think that their written is subject to permanence or permanent. So the second is production time. The possible case in here is the student will just only focus on the deadline and would resort to not give importance on the context itself. So production time refers to the length of time required to the produce of good or service from start to finish. It includes all the steps involved in the manufacturing processes from the moment raw materials are acquired to the point when the final product is ready for distribution. Production time im- is an important factor in determining the efficiency and cost effectiveness of a manufacturing process. For example, students may prioritize deadline over context. leading to insufficient improvement in their written work. Teachers should encourage students to focus on the learning process rather than the result. So the third is distance. Distance, having a relationship with the audience, anticipation before students start to write, they have to know who will be the audience to read their output. So for example, for the speaker's distance in audience anticipation is determined by their familiarity with the audience, knowledge and interest by tailoring content, style, and tone. Speakers can establish a positive relationship and effectively communicate their message. So the fourth is orthography. After after writer consider about the word, phrase, and sentence that they will use, student also consider about the font size and also the picture. So when we talk about all orthography, meaning it's an aspect of written text such as font choice, size, spacing, and layout. For example, the use of appropriate fonts, text size, spacing, and graphics in a document can significantly enhance its visual appeal and effectively communicate its message, varying from formal to modern magazines.
Morning everyone, my name is JV Diba and I am the second reporter. So the fifth characteristics of written language is complicity. This is talk about a sentence whenever students use simple sentence, combined or complex sentence. When you see the word complicity, think of something with a lot of pieces, something not easy to put into words or understand. Formality. This is a complex convention for academic writing. Describe, explain, compare, criticize, and argue. And this is the characteristics of spoken language. The first is variation in speed. The second, loudness and quietness. The third, gestures. Four, intonation. Number five, stress. Six, rhythm. Seven, pitch range. And eight, pausing and phrasing. Difference between spoken and written language tends to be more complex and intricate than speech, with longer sentences and many subordinate clauses. The punctuation and layout of the written text also have no spoken equivalent. Usually, permanent and written texts cannot usually be changed once they are been printed or written out. Written text can communicate across time and space for as long as the particular language and written system is still understood. Tends to be full of repetitions, incomplete sentence, correction and interruption with the exception of formal speeches and other scripted forms for speech such as news reports and scripted for plays and film. Usually transient unless recorded and speakers can correct themselves and change their utterances as they go along. Speech is usually used for immediate interaction. Speech can use timing, tone, volume, and trembling to add emotional context. The next is the most common language register in writing. Formal language register is appropriate for professional writing and letter to a boss or stranger. Cannot instead of can't, have not instead of haven't, will not instead of won't. Example: announcement, some essay, letters, complaint, business, professional letters, email. Informal language register is a conversational and appropriate when writing to friends and people you very well. He's very busy. We feel that the target is unrealistic. I plan very different. Example: short note diaries and journal. Neutral language register is non-emotional and sticks to facts is the most appropriate for technical writing. It's like presentation, emails, and technical text are some example of written language using the neutral register.
Definition of register and varieties of spoken and the written language. So, first is the register. Register is a subset of language as defined by purpose and setting. So, in register, we have also referred to as style of language, form of language, variety of language, mode of expression, linguistic register, language variant, language level, linguistic regular, language variant, and dialectical form. Types of register. A. Frozen is a language that never changes. Example kay Panatang Makabayan. B. Formal standard English. So example ani niya kay sa kanang mga speech or school lessons nga atong ma-learn. Consultative list formal standard in English. Example ani kay kanang mga newscasting. Then D. Casual language between friends. So example ani kay mga vernacular speech. A. Intimate language between lovers of other close family or friends. Next is the varieties. Variety is also called lake is a specific form of language cluster. This may include language, dialects, registers, styles, or other forms of language, as well as standard variety. So there are 5 varieties of the Philippines. First is the Cebuano, Waray-Waray, Ilocano, Kapampangan, and Hiligaynon. Spoken language is a language produced by articulate sounds, and oral language is produced with vocal tract trained to convey subjective information. So ang spoken language example ani kanang conversation nato sa atong mga amigo, phone conversation, casual greeting sa atong mga uyab, ay wala man tayo masinda ng good morning sir lang. Sa mora to siya. Synthesis. The kind of register to be asked affect the way one speaks and writes. Language has a formal and informal register. This register have form which is defined the social situation. That's all. Thank you.